The Red Roses raising standards in the women's game and gaining lots of new fans in the process. Back-to-back wins over the Black Ferns have underlined their status as the best side in the world and laid down a serious marker for next year's Rugby World Cup. The next challenge, another leading nation in Canada.
Act 1, we welcome the world champions.
80 minutes for a race to the top of the world rankings. England are rampant at Sandy Park. 3 tries and the Black Ferns have had no reply. England win to ruin the Black Ferns' 100th Test party. The Red Roses prove and protect their world #1 ranking.
The perfect start.
Never in doubt.
Act 2,
Would there be a backlash?
Bragging rights ahead of the World Cup up for grabs. The Red Roses are ahead early doors at Franklin's Gardens. And this scoreline just keeps growing for the Red Roses. The masterclass is complete and the Black Ferns' troubles have just deepened.
Act 3, Canada.
Number 3 in the world, they're no mugs.
It's shaping up to be an autumn to remember for English rugby. The men winners over the Wallabies at HQ yesterday. Now the Red Roses are looking to maintain an unbeaten run, which currently stretches to 16 wins on the spin. Unlike the Black Ferns, who struggled on their return to top-flight rugby, Canada are in the groove. They arrive from Colorado, having beaten the USA twice at the start of the month. England will be wary of the threat posed by a side that sits 3rd in the world. It's the 3rd instalment of the autumn series for the Red Roses. We've got England against Canada, live from the Twickenham Stoop. And it's a slightly grey old Twickenham Stoop, but mercifully the rain has held off for everyone here today and for our dynamic duo, Maggie Alfonsi and Emily Scarrett. Good afternoon both, you're most welcome. Now Emily, England have been so impressive this autumn. What has pleased you most?
Yeah, they've been super impressive. I think obviously to take down the current world champions twice in a row, it was a phenomenal feat from the girls. Been most impressed with the intensity that they've been playing at, the tempo. They've tried to keep the ball in play as much as possible, and then when they have it in play, just continue to ramp that intensity up. We've seen the hookers flying off the field to try and get a ball in for the line-outs and get it in play as quickly as possible. So, yeah, I think we'll see some more of that today. They want to keep the pace high and really rip into this Canadian side.
Maggie, I like this song. Yeah. A bit of Beyonce always goes down well. Now, look, the manner in which England have played has been so impressive. It's got people talking. How close is this team to being one of the best England teams, if not the best England team?
Good question. I would say this is definitely the best England team for this era, and it's really hard to compare them to past England sides. So if I think in 1994 when they won the Women's Rugby World Cup, that was the best England team then. And then in 2014, which me and Scarrett were part of, and we won the Rugby World Cup then, I would say we were actually the best team back then. But this team is definitely growing. There's so much young talent in the side, and they're building, and I'm so excited about what this team can definitely go on to achieve. And obviously the marker for them will be winning the Rugby World Cup next year, and they're definitely on the way to doing that.
I think the most impressive thing for me at the moment is the depth that we have. You know, you could pick one of either of some of these positions and it wouldn't be a difference. You know, there'd be no change in skill level, in intensity or anything like that. So the depth that we have at the moment is fantastic, and obviously a couple of girls as well getting out there for their first cap as well today.
Dylan Hartley's with us in commentary again this weekend. I saw him taking his daughter to get autographs from the Red Roses last weekend at Franklin's Gardens. What sort of impact on the wider women's game do you think the Red Roses are having?
I would say the impact they're having is absolutely huge. You know, they're able to be role models that the fans can come and talk to, can almost touch and speak to. That's absolutely huge. When I think about when I was an athlete and I came into the England side, I didn't see many other females playing rugby union, and now many fans are getting the opportunity to really almost connect with these role models, and it's so special. And you know, one day these young girls, these young boys will look at these athletes and say, I have the potential to one day play for England because I came and saw the England women play.
Canada just heading into the sheds. Emily, in many ways, could they be the biggest challenge for England this autumn?
Yeah, I think they will be. Obviously, it's easy to say after they've already won twice, isn't it? But this Canadian side is incredibly physical. You know, they're fantastic rugby players in their own right, and incredibly athletic. So they'll bring a different dynamic to what we've seen perhaps in the previous 2 weeks against New Zealand. They'll come hard, they'll come direct, and it'll be a really tough challenge for them.
Absolutely. We have to remember that this is the third best team in the world. They made it to the final of the Rugby World Cup back in 2014. They've got so much talent. They're excited. They're looking forward to really putting their performance in against England. And I can only say this side will give you 80 minutes. They are a relentless side, so you can't underestimate them. They will come to this game with a big performance and will want to show England what they can do.
They certainly will. Now, these two sides last met in 2019 when England enjoyed a very narrow win. Lee McKenzie's got the teams that are going to renew that rivalry.
Thanks very much, Sonia. Well, the fact that the Red Roses are such heavy favourites means that their coach, Simon Middleton, can go on and make a raft of changes. We've also got two players reaching the 50-cap mark out there on the pitch behind me, Abby Ward and Poppy Cleal. Now, you might remember that Poppy Cleal made her captaincy debut and took the number 8 shirt from the vastly experienced Sarah Hunter last week. Well, Hunter is back in the starting side and as captain. But interestingly, she starts at 6 with Cleal staying at 8. Alongside them in the back row is Sadia Kabea, who makes her England debut, and there is one other debutante on the wing. Harlequins' Heather Cowell makes her first start for the Red Roses at her club's home ground. Despite being third in the world rankings, Canada have a daunting afternoon ahead of them. Many of the Canadian players will be familiar to the opposition, given the fact they play in the English Premier 15s. The front row all play at Exeter. The lock Taylor is a former Saracen. Ellis, the replacement prop, is a current Sarri star, and Paige Farries on the wing plies her trade at Worcester. Plenty of quality out there, so let's hope for a decent battle this afternoon.
Well, the Red Roses not short of supporters. They've a loyal and dedicated band of fans that have been turning up in good numbers for these test matches. Nearly 20,000 through the gates for the matches against New Zealand in Exeter and Northampton. And there have been strong ticket sales here at Stoop as well. It's underpinned by the Women's Domestic League, which is helping to raise both the standard and the profile of the women's game in England. It's really noticeable how many youngsters are coming to watch the Red Roses, and the players always happy to pose for selfies and sign autographs after the game. To remind you, 2:30 kick-off here at the Stoop with Canada coach Sandro Fiorino looking for his side to build on those recent wins over the USA. We'll hear from him very shortly. But first, his opposite number, England coach Simon Middleton, has also been speaking with Lee.
Well, Simon, we're only halfway through this autumn campaign for the Red Roses, but I imagine the atmosphere is pretty high in the camp right now.
Yeah, we just spoke about it before we came out. What a great vibe there is, and this morning's been, been similar. We just sat down with a leadership group. We've talked about just making sure that, we keep the right side of that atmosphere, and we get the changing room exactly how we want it, get the focus right when we want it. But yeah, it's a good place to be at the moment.
Well, Sandro, it's a lovely day for rugby. What's the atmosphere like in your camp just now?
I mean, lots of great energy. There's been a lot of anticipation building up over the last 2 years to get to this moment, and we're looking forward to playing one of the world's best teams.
The Black Ferns have provided a challenge. Canada will provide a different one. What will be the main differences that they will bring to the party today?
Well, I think they'll come without any inhibitions whatsoever. This is a no-lose game for them as such. And I think they're always remarkably well conditioned. They've got great energy. They're very physical. You can see how their game's developing, the strategy of their game's developing. So we know it's going to be high energy. They won't fall away at all, which is great for us because we want to test where we are physically. We said that right at the start of the competition. One of the big learnings for us was where are we physically, and we'll find that out today and similarly tomorrow. Next week in Tuesday.
Is today about the win or is today about the performance?
I think it's about the process. So for us, it's really been about getting the right energy and putting the right effort forward. We know we got to throw our best at this group today, but we're excited about what will happen at the end.
Best of luck.
Thanks for your time.
Now, Emily, England rightly receiving plaudits for the way they've been playing over the last fortnight. But when they would have sat down in their team briefing on Monday morning, team review, what's the one area that Simon Middleton would have said, you know what, you lot, you can do better?
Yeah, I think it's just staying on it for that whole 80 minutes. I think he was, very vocal after the game and during the week that they probably left 3 or 4 tries out there, which, considering the scoreline is still a massive thing. So that's the sort of thing that England will want to fix up. They're perfectionists. They want to get everything right. And I suppose a little bit defensively, just some of that physicality maybe in those outer channels where you can really impose yourself on a game and on a team.
Yeah, just to add on to what Emily said, for me, one of the main areas that England really struggled with was just switching off. I just want to show a couple of clips to really illustrate it. And, it all came from their almost poor defensive shape. I just want to highlight here, Cocaine comes out of the line and really should have shifted across. So as a result of that, she creates a massive overlap for New Zealand. And the New Zealand hooker gets this opportunity to almost run 20 metres untouched, which she shouldn't have. And as a result of that, she creates all this territory, and England unfortunately put pressure on themselves. And we see it again in this next clip. Again, England's defensive shape. So with Aitken, she comes out of the line. She's already highlighted here. She comes out of the line. Again, she should have shifted across. It creates a 2v1, and Sarah McKenna's put under a lot of pressure because she's got Portia Woodman on the outside of her. And she sticks her hand out and then gives away a yellow card. But this is the thing that England needs to get away with. Stop putting themselves under pressure. Really, they're good at doing 80 minutes of rugby, so they need to really put that in against Canada.
Certainly fit enough, aren't they? Now, look, a big day for 2 England debutants, Emily. Let's start with Heather Cowell. I don't know what the emotions that must be flooding through her, because not only is she going to wear that white jersey for the first time, she's doing it on her own patch at Harlequins. So what are you hoping to see from her on the wing today?
Yeah, it's a pretty cool debut, isn't it, playing on your home pitch. But yeah, look, she's a phenomenal athlete, a great rugby player. Probably surprised it's taken her this long to really come into the fold in terms of getting capped. She's been around the system for a little while. She's played a lot of sevens as well. But yeah, she's a fantastic player. She's got pace. She's got that physicality. She's got a good step on her as well. And hopefully we'll see some, her with a lot of ball in hand this afternoon to really showcase what she's about.
Yeah, so we've got one debutante in the backs, and we've got one in the forwards as well, Maggie. In your old jersey, boy, has she got some big boots to fill in. Sadia Kabeya. How excited are you to see this young flanker?
I am truly excited. I mean, one, the fact that she's going to be wearing my old jersey, which is probably still pretty quite big. But this player is fantastic. She's 19 years old. When you think about the story, how she got into rugby was because of her PE teacher, who was Bryony Clill, who's the England prop. And it's really highlighted the fact that this lady has so much talent. She's learnt from other players. It's crazy to think that she had the choice to choose between athletics and rugby, and thank God she chose rugby. Today, I know she's going to make some big tackles. She's going to hunt down the players, but the key thing for me is that she's just got to work hard, because she's up against a very good number 7, Karen Paquin from Canada. And Karen, the difference between her and Kabeya is the fact that she's 34 years old, she's got a lot of experience, she's played in the Rugby World Cup, got a silver medal back in 2014, is also a bronze Olympic medalist as well. Karen is a leader, but she's also one of those players who knows how to play the game well. She was player of the match against USA in their second test and also scored a try. So for me, I'm looking forward to this battle. It's almost the apprentice versus the master, and how it pans out is going to be really key. It depends on who really dominates it early on.
What you're talking about, you were the master.
Of course. Everyone learns from me. Learns how to cheat, that's what it is, learns how to cheat.
Cheeky Maggie Alfonsi. Now look, Sadia Kabeya, is very likely she's going to be involved in a maul today, because that is fast becoming a real asset for England, isn't it?
Yeah, look, England's got many strengths, but for me, one of the main things in their armoury has to be the driving maul. And again, I want to show a couple of points to really highlight this. They're very good at being clinical, so when they're 10 metres out, they set it up really well. They get their players in, they know how to really almost focus on keeping it moving, almost splintering the New Zealand pack. And I just want to show their formation. What England do when they're 5-10 metres out, they always highlight their number 6 or number 7 to get in onto the ball. And they get their 2 supporting players to fold in and almost create a scrum. It's so easy for their hooker. So here Davis comes in, and all she needs to do is sit at the back and control and almost manoeuvre the pack to the point where, again, New Zealand are almost being splintered. But I expect that to be the same thing today. I think that's their biggest weapon. They scored 4 tries against New Zealand last weekend, and I'm expecting that again.
Emily, you've just watched all of that, haven't you? Went, please don't shove it up your jumper. Give it to the backs.
I'd just love to see a bit of variation. It's brilliant that they've got the driving maul going, but at some point they're going to come up against a team that stop it, and they need to have practiced having to use something else and that variation.
Emma, you love a good maul. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, look, there have been some standout performers for England over the last fortnight, but one in particular has shone brightly. That's fly half Zoe Harrison. She honed her cooking skills. kicking skills. Maybe she is quite good in the kitchen as well. Who knows? She's good at everything. But she honed those kicking skills playing football. She's turning into quite the rugby player.
So I started playing rugby when I was 5. I started playing because my brother used to play down at Tring Rugby Club and my dad used to coach him. I always used to be down at the club anyway, so I thought, you know what, why not give it a try?
Oh, Zoe Harrison, that was one for the scrapbook.
Obviously at England, Skaz is the main kicker, so as she's got injured, they've chosen me. I was starting 10 the first game, so I was selected to kick in that game, and I'm really enjoying doing that role. As a 10, you have to be confident, you have to show leadership, so I think that's where I've come in and I wouldn't say bossed it, but I've helped to gear the girls up and get them to where they need to be as well. It is a challenge, but I'd say I do really enjoy doing it.
Harrison.
We looked at the Black Ferns and analysed them quite a lot. We did a lot of physical stuff and a lot of fitness sort of work. Last year we came into the Six Nations and we started like a match against each other, and we come through with the mentality if we can beat each other because we know what our plays are and how we'll play, then we can beat anyone. Luckily we did come out with the scoreline that we did, but we know we still got so much more to put in, so much work to be done.
Recycle quickly, still going, popped up on
Canadian girls have engines on them like no one else does, so we know that they'll keep coming at us. They play the same way as they do in the first minute as they do in the 80th minute. There's no stopping them, so we know they're going to come at us, hit hard, so it's just taking what we needed to do in the New Zealand game into the Canada game and stepping it up another level. You know, we won't let anything settle. We elevate ourselves, we keep going and we get better. Just continuing to look at ourselves. Other teams will get better. We've realised what we need to change and what we need to do to beat other teams, and we're going to work on that, hopefully through the rest of this autumn campaign and then into the Six Nations and then into the World Cup.
That's England fly half Zoe Harrison. Emily, she really has got it all, run, pass, but how good in particular is that boot of hers?
Yeah, it's very impressive. I think the most impressive thing often is how long it can be. She obviously spoke about her kind of footballing history growing up, and she's really taken a hold of this 10 jersey. She's really made it her own. You know, it's quite a young back line, so she's really had to kind of step up in that leadership role. But as I say, it's just the length of her kick that she's able to get, and sometimes it's not always the first one, but once you've kicked once, you get the return from another team, and then it's being able to send it long again. And if you're able to do that, you just slowly work your way down the field. You get that territory, which is also important in a game of rugby. And she's really, you know, she's worked hard on that. This isn't a surprise to her. She's done it for a long time at Saracens. She's able to relieve pressure. We haven't seen England play hardly any rugby in their red zone in the last couple of games, and that's because of players like her just immediately getting rid of the ball, saying no, we don't want to play here, we'll play somewhere else. And as we spoke about with the maul, if the team's giving away penalties, then you've got an opportunity to strike in a really potent area of the field.
She was flawless from the kicking team last week at Northampton. So now hang on a minute, that's your role when you're fit and playing. So like, who's going to do the kicking job when you come back?
Oh, she can have it. No, look, I think we're always really competitive when we're training, and I've always said, and you know, Zoe and Helena are the same. The best person should kick, and Zoe's been going incredibly well. She was flawless last weekend. She's been brilliant for Saracens as well. So this isn't a surprise. She'll keep working on it, but yeah, fair play to her.
Maggie, does this team, Canada, does it stir a few emotions for you? Because it was them that you beat to win a World Cup.
It does, yeah. I mean, 2014, you know, Emily will remember, it was emotional. To win that World Cup was really special, but we also knew that Canada would not stop, and that's one thing you can't, you know, you've got to think about when it comes to Canada. You need to understand that they will work for 80 minutes, and that World Cup final, we worked to the last 80th minute, and Emily scored, yeah, very good try, and we'll go on about her. But this Canada side has improved since then, and I expect them to really put in a performance today.
Yeah, well, look, there's a real rich history between these two. So can England beat Canada again to go 3 from 3 this autumn? Well, nice atmosphere building here at the Twickenham Stoop. We've got the flag bearers on the pitch with the England flags just fluttering nicely in the breeze. So, big game for England against the third best team in the world. Let's go to our commentators. Former England captain Dylan Hartley, a World Cup winner Natasha Hunt. But first, Sarah Orchard.
Thanks, Sonia. Good afternoon. Ding, ding, round 3, everyone. We are nearly ready to go in southwest London. Now, the Stoop has hosted many great women's internationals over the years, perhaps the most famous being the 2010 World Cup final, where England lost narrowly to New Zealand. However, 4 years later in Paris, of course, the Red Roses changed the script, becoming world champions with a victory over today's visitors, Canada. Some very proud women out there on the field at the moment, waiting to welcome the teams out. And it has been a busy old week in women's rugby. There's been wins for Ireland over the USA, France over New Zealand, Wales over South Africa, and still later today, it'll be Scotland against Japan. But our focus right now very much on England and Canada. Now you have to say that the weather has been pretty good so far. Just overcast skies for the time being, not too much bite at the moment to the wind. So yeah, not too cruel this November just yet, as the last few people just take their seats. And nice to see the Canadian fans as they get ready to welcome our visitors. They're fresh from back-to-back victories over the United States. Canada, of course, led out by their skipper, their Exeter Chiefs, Olivia de Marchand. The Mapledale and New Brunswick native, she's considered one of the best props in the world, and no doubt she'll be keen to use her experience of that Premier 15s League to full effect today. As we say, the Canadians, you have to remember, they've not long come over to the UK after those 2 back-to-back games against the United States. They haven't actually done a huge amount of training this week as they've just adjusted to settling down here in the UK. But here we go. There is a very special welcome about to become, because there we go. Abby Ward and Poppy Cleall will lead out England on the occasion of their 50th caps. Well, the Bristol captain Ward helped her former club Harlequins lift the Premier 15's title last season. She brings up the 50 after making her debut back in 2015. While Poppy Cleall, she debuted in the 2016 Six Nations. She's got 2 P15's titles to her name with her club side, Saracens. Both women stalwarts of this England side. There could also be a 50 capper coming off the bench for Canada in the form of Laura Russell, but if she does come off the bench, we will mark that when it happens. Right, both sides in the crowd will now make it stand against racism in any form. There's no place for it in rugby, in sport or anywhere, and this is a message that just continues across both the men's and women's Autumn Nation Series.
We will now observe a moment's silence, remembering the sacrifice of our armed forces, their families.
It is, of course, Remembrance Sunday. Everyone here at the Stoop will now reflect on the service and sacrifice of those who have defended our freedoms and protected our way of life.
The referee's whistle.
Well, our bugler there was Steve Fletcher, who served for 14 years with the Royal Artillery Band. It is now time for the anthems, and we will start with O Canada.
Please be upstanding if possible for the national anthem of Canada, performed by Rachel Allen.
As the strains of God Save the Queen just start to quieten around the stoop, it is now time to get down to business. Let's take a look at the team. Simon Middleton makes 7 changes to the side that beat New Zealand in Northampton last week. In the backs, it's a debut for Harlequins' Heather Cowell on the right wing, with Langi Tuima, Sarah McKenna and Claudia MacDonald all promoted from the bench into the starting lineup. In the forwards, captain Sarah Hunter returns to start, but she'll be wearing 6 as she helps guide Loughborough Lightning back row teammate Sadia Kabea on her debut. Saracens' Hannah Bottoman also returns to start at loosehead. As for Sandro Fiorino's Canada, there are wholesale changes, 11 in total. West Shore fly half Emily Belchos de Goody holds on to the 10 shirt, but she's joined by a second playmaker in Alex Tessier, who wears 12 outside her. However, the 2014 World Cup finalist Alessa Allery, she wears 15. Into the forwards, it's an Exeter Chiefs front row, De Marchand, Tutosi and Menin, while eyes will be drawn to the 7 shirt of Stade Bordelay's Karen Paquin, her 29th cap today, providing some of the much-needed experience alongside Forteza and Senft. Well, time to say good afternoon to Mo, aka Natasha Hunt, and Dylan Hartley. Now, first of all, Mo, we are expecting Canada to really turn this up a level from what we saw from New Zealand.
Absolutely. This week we've heard from England coaches Lewis Deacon and Simon Middleton discussing the strength of the set piece for Canada and how powerful their forward pack is. I'm expecting a massive battle up front, considering the rich form these Red Roses forwards have been in over the last fortnight. VIP you just saw in the house there, that was Doreen Poppy Clear, who you see on screen right now. That is her 91-year-old grandmother, the first ever time she's been to a game to watch Clear win her 50th cap. And there is our referee, Holly Davidson of Scotland. Right then, we've had the thumbs up.
And as we said, we've got two playmakers out there. You can see it's actually Tessier who's actually stepping up here to get us back underway. She's wearing 12 today, but she can also play fly half, so expect to see both her and Beltrust Goody slipping in and out of those positions. Underway then at the stoop. The world number 1's taking on the world number 3's as Cleo, wearing 8 this week, once again takes the ball forward. Bottoman. Cracking first touch of the ball there by the loose head.
Right in front,
Back then to Rowland. Almost a little bit of miscommunication there, isn't the end? Poulin does gather the ball. Rowland feeds McKenna. Ball comes out then to the hat-trick woman from last week, Cockayne. Wasps McDonald then manages to feed towards that lock partnership. Aldcroft taking it on. McDonald is caught there. Harrison, Byrne. McDonald, Harrison again, decides to take it on herself there. You can see how quick this Canadian defensive line is really trying to get up in England's faces. Hunter, the captain. Cleo. Oh, McDonald fancied a little snipe there. Bottoman playing scrum half. I'm sure she does that all the time, as it's now Hunter again. Looking for options. Cockayne just joining that line. Langi Tuima now. One of the Harlequins players who regularly plays here at the stoop as the ball is kicked on deep into Canadian territory there. A little bit too much gas on it. And this means Alyssa Allery will just clear that one back and bring it forward. Time to say a very good afternoon to Dylan Hartley. We haven't spoken to you yet.
I'm surprised I'm back. I'm talking into the wrong side of the microphone. I'm back. Hello. Thank you. Now, really good start from Red Roses there, showing good intent. Every carry I've seen, taking the ball moving, really good intent behind the carry. Great kind of start to the game for the Roses.
With all of the Red Roses to kick to, you don't want to kick to Sarah Byrne. She can build up a real head of steam very fast, especially in those short areas. This is a wonderful position for the Red Roses, who've also got a penalty advantage coming as well. Harrison finds Rowland.
Advantage, offside.
Spinning through the contact. There's our debut, Cabella.
Okay, no advantage. Roll. Captain, you have a high tackle against 5 or an offside against 4. Sorry. So the high tackle is just there? Yeah. Offside here. We'll go here. Okay.
Like I said, really good start. If I was Claudia McDonald right now, I'd be getting in that ref's ear. Her passing channel has been blocked a couple of times by, I'm getting a scrum half looking at me, nodding away here, and Mo. But I'll be getting in the ref's ear because it's slowing down her speed of ball, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tricky balance to play, though. You don't want to get in the referee's ear too early, but Canada are doing really well just to block that. Here we go with England again, quick as you like.
Well, England have scored a lot of tries like this already this autumn.
Sideways once.
Canada will know what is being thrown at them. They do seem to have managed to slow this one down. McDonald might be told to use this. She does. Not been able to take cleanly there by Rowland, but another penalty, this time for offside.
Just here, Maria.
What I'm loving at the moment is
taken quickly then. Rowland with the big pass out wide. There's Cow. She's on debut. She's going to dot down in the corner. She used to be a gymnast, she used to tumble, but she didn't even have to do any of the tricks there. She did her job, she did it well. England are 5 up.
4 minutes in, debut, scoring in front of the home crowd at your home club, in the place you were born. It's just what dreams are made of. Lovely intent to play. You see Harrison straight on the ball. Bottoman, lovely hands, and then what about that pass from Helena Rowland? She's just brilliant, straight from the 7th circuit. Lovely out in front and a great finish for Heather Cowell.
After seeing the way that Canada defended that maul, they've obviously done their homework and watched what the Red Roses done last week to the Black Ferns. So for Harrison there to take that quick one, Canada would have been expecting England to kick it in the corner again, maul, kick it in the corner again, maul. But so really smart thinking to play heads-up rugby there, saw the space, away we go, try and debut, beautiful.
It had to end eventually for Zoe Harrison, didn't it? That one just going past the face of the posts. But still England in an early lead. If you are by a search engine, do look up Heather Cowell and put in British gymnastics tumbling, and you will see what she used to do in her former sporting career. Incredible. Turning into quite an incredible rugby player, as it turns out.
What was in?
Interesting tactic by Canada there, kicking the ball off to England's biggest ball carrier. But England's biggest ball carrier opting to pass there. Good exit.
Oh, there we go. Okay, this is the Cleal family. Doreen just there. She's got the flag on her walker. First ever rugby match she has attended to watch Poppy win her 50th today. Lovely to have you with us today, Doreen, as the ball has just gone forward there, and it'll be a restart for England.
I'm really enjoying the intensity that Canada are trying to play out, though. You saw Paquin's face there after she's run that line. Such an athlete, incredible player to play against. So much credit there, and you can also hear the intensity on the ref mic of their defensive set, so I just hope that that try hasn't dampened that from a Canadian perspective.
Karen Paquin, one of the players who's actually been playing at Stade Bordelais in France. She is French-Canadian. You'll hear a little bit of French, a little bit of English coming up from the pitch. Predominantly, the Canadians do speak in English, but they do have French Day as well, which I understand was on Thursday. There is our coach, Sandro Fiorino. He's just overseeing those 2 victories over the USA, but knows that the task just got a little bit tougher since they arrived at the stoop.
Bind! Set!
Well, that scrum just ever so slightly moving, but England get it out. Tuima to Dow. She was looking for a little bit of work off her wing there, but the Canadian defence was ready. Big pass out wide, McKenna.
Advantage 11, not ruling.
Straight away, we're seeing Tuima there running a hard line like a 12, but she's got 13 on her back.
And she does chop and change as we see Cleal. England have already made over 100 metres so far in this fixture. Not even 8 minutes on the clock. Once again, it's Kadea. McDonald just almost trying to make sure she got the right call. Slightly scuffed off the boot there in the end.
No advantage.
But there is the penalty.
11.
Yeah, fortunate to go back to that. Just a little bit scrappy from England. You can see what they're trying to do. With this dominance of the carry, though, I'd love to see them just flatten up and play out the back door a bit more. The Canadian defence is getting nice and narrow. They're probably to the outside of the post, so there's an awful lot of space. To see someone like Abby Dow running down this wing would be brilliant.
There we go, Simon Middleton watching on. Lewis Deacon, his forwards coach, alongside him. Deacon brought in after the Six Nations, has really helped them shore up their set piece. So Canada on the ball, chance for us to see them have an attack for the first time. Ball going forward there through Courtney Holtkamp. She's played a bit of rugby at Loughborough Lightning.
Okay, 9, use it.
She's actually returning to them in the new year. A little bit of a mistake there by our captain, but there's a charge down there by Aldcroft. But I think they will come back.
Looked like she got pushed by her own teammate. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but Sarah Hunter flying in.
Sorry, 6.
6 offside. She normally wears number 8, which is why that was called. But a bit of a let-off for Canada, and they say that they've just missed touch. So Heather Cowell in full flight.
Heather Cowell, 2 defenders down so far. Ball comes back in the end for Harrison. She'll be happier with that kick. Waiting there out on the far side. Still Canadian ball as they take it through the hands. It's Ellery. Plays for West Shore. rugby football club back in Canada, although we have to say, as much as we say a lot of these Canadians have Canadian clubs, they haven't been playing any rugby hardly at all because of the pandemic. Ball comes back then to fly half Belchosta Goody. McKenna.
Offside.
Penalty opportunity then finally for the Canadians to try and get a little bit of territory.
You can see both teams just trying to feel out this game at the moment. A lot of kicking in the first two matches. We saw England play against New Zealand last 2 weekends. There wasn't that much kicking. I think there was only 27% of kicking that was sent for both of the games. So they're really just trying to get a foothold in this game. Canada as well know how strong this England defence is. They're looking to put boot to ball an awful lot.
Open the gap. Open.
Titosi with the ball in. Ward tried to get her fingertips to that. Now Canada scored quite a few tries in this very fashion against the USA. England will know how good a maul this can be. As England players dropping all over this maul. Miller manages to find Belchosta Goody. Comes back again. Heavy work here by Poulin, who manages to feed it back inside to Taylor.
Advantage. Come back. 7. Entry at the maul.
Red Rose has got to be careful here. They've now gone the length of the field and penalties. And talk about painting pictures with referees, good habits and whatnot. They've been offside in defence, a couple of sloppy things around the ruck, giving away a penalty at the maul, and guess what's going to come again here? I've got no doubt another maul's coming, so the referee will be looking for discipline there.
England will know how dangerous this is. As we said, Canada can score tries, and they're beginning to get into that zone where they know they can reach that try line.
Absolutely, they've had zero possession, no territory. This is their first attacking opportunity. Really well set maul last time. Can they do it again?
Ball just overcooked over the top. McDonald has it. Feeds Cowell again. Can she turn on the gas? Oh, she is shrugging off defenders for fun this afternoon.
Advantage, knock on in the tackle. Knock on and tackle.
Well, Heather Cowell, we've said this is her debut. She is looking to the manner born so far.
Unbelievable start for her. That's exactly what you want on your debuts, early touches. And I mean, her first touch was a try. But yeah, she's getting on the ball. Love that from McDonald there. First option usually when you turn over ball on your 22 is to get rid of it, kick it down the field, but play to space, make 20, 30 metres up the field.
Yeah, she's a brilliant runner, ball in hand. Really nice timing of the pass to Cowell as well. And what about her depth? I love it when I see wingers holding their depth and just attacking that ball at the right time at pace. Brilliant start, as you said, from her.
Tuima. She's such a powerful runner, but it is a penalty to Canada. She's just held on to that for a touch too long. Canada go quickly. Belchosta Goody looking for her options, uses Cowjuvie through the centres. There's no one at home there for England. It's a nice option, and Harrison under pressure. Dealt with that well. Belchosta Goody again. Miller. Taylor. England just really fighting for everything over the top of here.
It's an unbelievable turnover from Poppy Killell there. You can hear them calling fire, fire. I've got no doubt that means counter-ruck. It all came from a good two-person tackle, really defensive, dominant display, and then Poppy stays on her feet and powers through there.
For me, I just don't know why Miller went quickly on that tap. They went quick, one carry, and then they kicked the ball away. Really interesting decision-making. It's just relentless, isn't it? The England defence. Poppy Cleal doing what she does best. Really good counter, and then backed up by her English teammates.
Anyone who thinks they're seeing things, just a reminder that, of course, Poppy Cleal does have a twin sister called Bryony, who you just saw a shot of in the crowd. She is a England international in her own right, but currently injured. And what a scrum from Canada, though. England could do with Bryony in that scrum right now.
There was a lot of talk going into the autumn internationals about England shoring up this scrum. After the Black Ferns, they were 100% from scrum, which was brilliant for them. That is the first one turned against the head that we've seen over the last 3 weekends.
I think Red Rose is maybe a little bit guilty of thinking the job was done. The ball was at the feet of the number 8, and I think a few people might have switched off there.
Remember that front row from Canada is all from the Exeter Chiefs who play in the Premier 15s, but there's Abby Ward doing what Abby Ward does. Stealing line out ball. Lovely little show and go there by Cleo. Harrison, Tuima. McKenna just tries to get that little bump pass. Cowell gathers.
Off the foot, play on. Off the foot again.
Tuima. Happy to vacuum up the ball. Burn. McDonald. Rowland. I think the referee just spotted that one eventually. They're going to come back. Whenever you see someone like Sarah Byrne in contact, it's almost like knowing that she's going to get meters.
Yeah, but for me,
it's aggressive. I like it. That's what you want from a ball carry. Taking the ball moving, looking to dominate your opposition, not running straight through them, even though Byrne can do that. She's always picking a soft shoulder. She's always pumping her legs. She doesn't accept the tackle. She just keeps going.
What I love about it as well is you have an inside and outside option. Generally, you normally tip to the outside, but there's always somebody there so that you can't come in and double hit, because as soon as you do, she's got the hands to just move it to one channel wider.
crouch. Bind. Let's go, Canada. Set.
Will we see an England response here? Yes, we can, but Canada get the ball. Right through the guts comes Kaljuvie. Soft hands then by the Canadians, but not soft enough because it's loose. Dow is there.
Not on ball.
Miller. That's a big hit in there on the captain, de Marchand. Paquin. Karen Paquin's done pretty much everything you can when it comes to rugby. Very well known on the Sevens circuit as well. Miller. They knew they were running out of space on the near side here. Poulin has to come in and try and sort this out after Allery was in a bit of trouble. Oh, Abby Dow, what a tackle. Somehow Canada keep it alive, but they're going backwards. This Red Roses defence is breathless.
Stay.
Tessier.
Right in front, hold.
That one has gone out, but Canada, they were not in their 22, so they're going to have to bring that one all the way back. And you have to say, hats off to the English defence.
It's just relentless, isn't it? Clearly a tactic is they're going at the breakdown in these wide channels. You can see as soon as there's a breakdown out there, they're driving through in numbers, counter-rucking off the ball.
I think the English forwards have realised they've got a little bit of a game on here today against Canada. Someone who can finally try and match them. They want to prove it, as the miscommunication means McDonald is pressured once again. Canada gather. It's a big boot coming in then by Belchester-Goody, but all she's managed to find is Saracen's McKenna. It's going to be Belchester-Goody again.
Outside.
Cow. No, she's got Harrison. Harrison knows there's a bit of space. Oh, what a take there in the air by Poulin.
Which number? She's stood static and then she's played onside by 11. I'm happy.
Miller finds the captain once again. She manages to go through Menon.
No.
Cleo warned there.
Play the 9. You can't spin around and play the 9.
I think Bottomann's seen this. She's tapped the ball.
Side entry and clean. No. Playing the 9.
I think both teams are a little bit guilty at the moment of not completing a set of phases. It's a bit tit for tat. you know, 2 or 3 phases, turnover, 2 or 3 phases, penalty, you know, set piece, turnovers. Both teams will be a little bit frustrated. Someone needs to get hold of this game and just calm it down, get through the phases, get a little bit of territory and stay there for a while.
Worth saying at this point, at this time last week in the game against New Zealand, England were 21-0 up. This is not the case. Canada are here to play. Belchester Goody wants to use that big number 8 in Gabby Senft. Meant to be a real star in the making for the Maple Leafs. De Marchand. Miller. What to take on the floor there. Someone is alive to the danger there as Cabella wants it. Cowell again. Oh, she's tiptoeing down that sideline. Tuima again. Harrison, Bottoman. England looking for a little bit of safety here. There was a touch in the air there. No one from Canada putting a name on it, so Dow says, I tell you what, it's all mine. Thank you. Ward. Abby Ward could have probably got a lot more caps for England. She did spend a long period out injured as there's a miss there, and here comes the opportunity for the Canadians. It's Farris who's going. It's surely going to be a try. It's going to be Paige Farris who plays her rugby for Worcester, who levels the scores, and they'll have a chance to go ahead with a conversion as well. What a poach there by Canada.
It's the story of the half so far, isn't it? Dylan Hartley mentioning it just now, tit for tat. Just a miscommunication, a pass that had so much fizz on it from Helena Rowland. Langi Tuima can't take it out the back door. England potentially, it's from Zoe Harrison, apologies, and just a really good pick. England potentially trying to play a little bit too flat, but brilliant finish by Paige Farris. Lovely stuff. I thought she wasn't going underneath the sticks at one point, so I'm glad she turned the corner.
We've got a game on. I know it was still early days and it's only one try, but I'll be interested to see what's being said under that sticks now. How this team get back into this game? How do they gain control? I've got one kind of suggestion. It would be playing in the right areas of the field. I think they're a little bit guilty of overplaying in that area. The phase before, when Abby Dowell picked up the charge down kick, you can hear on the ref link, Zoe, get rid of it. So Zoe Harrison, get rid of it, stop playing down here. So yeah, big challenge for the team now that they're up against a little bit of adversity.
Yeah, it was actually Abby Ward that said that. So brilliant game management, her leadership coming through all the time.
Brianna Miller then puts Canada in front. This is the first time that the Red Roses have been behind in this entire Autumn Nations campaign. It's all from that woman there, Paige Farris. She said she's a Worcester player. No doubt her director of rugby, Joe Yap, will be watching on very happy.
All I want here from Red Rose's point of view is a nice, probably deep kick-off. Let Canada either run it out, force an error, or let them kick the ball out 30 metres out from the try line and England have a launch from there. So really clean discipline here, good defensive line, good chase.
Have the Canadians rattled the Red Roses?
Ball is out.
Miller.
Strip, but forward.
Once again, opportunity for the Canadians.
It's good intent, isn't it? Lovely work by Sarah Byrne, just getting her arm in, shoulder in nice and tight. Brilliant carry initially from Dalika Menon. She does that all the time in the Premier 15. She's a fantastic ball player. But unfortunate for Sarah Byrne that one's just gone forward. Scrum to Canada.
It's a great decision, to be fair. Just can't control the bounce of that ball, can we?
Set.
Well, that was a warning for Bottoman. And Canada straight away see where the space is on the field. That has been well worked there by the Canadians, and all of a sudden England find themselves back inside their own half.
It's not a bad option, is it? But for me, again, why take a quick tap and then kick it within one phase? It could be your line out down on this near side touchline. You just play it into the corner. Now you've given England easy opportunity, ball back.
Just quickly on that scrum, all Bottomman has shown the touch judge there as her elbow touched on the ground first, kind of folding in. So look at her, she's making up for it now with a huge carry.
McDonald to Harrison, now it's Tuima. Ward. Oh, big hit going on her there from Emma Taylor. Taylor's played a bit of rugby at Saracens, also plays for Halifax back in Canada. Huge run there also by McKenna. Saracens teammate. Miller looks to Taylor again. To Tosi.
What was that?
Well, Senft there. Had to get rid of it eventually. Belchester Goody. Not held, so she goes again. She put down the ball. Picked it up again. Out to the far side. Tessier.
Use it!
Still Canadian ball. You can see that the Red Roses want this badly. They're just trying to figure out how to get it. Great passing by the Canadians. Menon now on the floor. Miller. Comes back then to Belchester Goody, but that one clearly forward, as we can see. And they'll come back.
I mean, I think it's lucky for England there, Canada, for those 3 or 4 phases there. They actually retained their width the whole time. And if they got their ball there probably 1-2 phase earlier, England were very exposed, and they're quite lucky that that pass did drift forward.
And tight head.
They're identifying space well, aren't they, Canada? And what about that from Poulan? Love it. Just drop it on the toe.
Let's go, team.
Back yourself on a chip and chase. Love to see it.
We just saw there the grimace there on Sarah Hunter's face as she went down there in that contact. Someone did come and have a little word in her ear. She says she's fine. And they'll need Sarah Hunter today. We talked about how we're expecting Canada to maybe raise us up a few levels. It's worth knowing that the last time these two sides played, England only won by 2 points, and that was because Sarah Hunter scored a try in the 74th minute of that game. And Canada actually had a kick at goal from a penalty to try and win it, but it was Hunter who saved the Red Roses bacon.
I know, but she's on ball.
Love that from Skips there. Looks like a career-ending injury, but Skipper's never injured. Skipper's never cold. Skipper's never hungry. The troops see you injured, cold or hungry, they're all going to feel like that too. So that's classic Sarah. Right, we've got a great chance here to kind of get a foothold in the game. Spend a little bit of time here. Put a bit of pressure in terms of territory and possession on Canada.
Amy Cockayne had some wonderful line-out throws in Northampton last week. And that continues here as Abby Ward says, thank you very much, I'll take that. Canada just going to throw a few more bodies at that. Does manage to slow down that trundle.
That's once.
One warning then for England. Bottomman is there. She does eventually release the bind. McDonald needs to distribute that ball. She's still going though. Cleel straightens up. Bottomman again to Byrne. Byrne, still Byrne!
Love that.
Try number 2 for England, scored by Bristol's Sarah Byrne, and they're back on the side of the scoreline that they like.
Sarah Byrne is just a bowling ball at times. I absolutely love it. There is no way that she should bounce a player like that. Such a powerful athlete. All comes from this carry from McDonald. Really quick to the breakdown. What I'm loving about this English attack is as soon as McDonald carries, there's somebody else playing the 9 pass. First of all, Amy Cockayne, then Hannah Bottomman. Sarah Byrne absolutely bounces them off, and she knows her way to the try line.
I wouldn't mind that if it was a fly half getting bumped off like that, but there's their number 8. You've got to go lower there, especially when you're 5 metres out from your own line. Claudia McDonald did a great job. She got a little bit isolated, kept her legs going, her support could get to her in that time. One thing I'd like to think about, you know, Canada have defended the maul exceptionally well. That variation that we've seen the last few weeks.
Just double checking, Holly, okay?
Time off.
Right, they're just going to go and have a look at the grounding from this burn try. So Zoe Harrison has been asked to just stop her conversion. And Holly Davidson is currently looking up at the big screen. All of the stoop waits with bated breath.
Yeah, I know, we're just checking. There's certainly a loss of control, but we're looking for a loss of separation.
Did she lose control? There was definitely downward pressure, but did she lose control will be the question.
I think that's a tight head prop shot off her skill set with a ball transfer there.
I've got a decision for you, Holly. Yep. You may award the try.
Perfect. Try's good. There's no clear separation from left into right arm.
I love that. Sarah Byrne just started clapping her own try.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is the modern tight head prop.
So at the moment, for me, they're rolling east to west as quick as possible. And then when 9 is picking it, she is finding, but I'm finding it for both sides. When the 9 picked over here, your 15 was also in the way, and I've not penalised either. Like, I will keep an eye. There's been 3 not rollings, but yeah.
Well, the conversation between Sarah Hunter and our referee continues as Zoe Harrison just extends the Red Roses lead. It's now 5 points now, but we can really say there's a wonderful game of rugby breaking out here at the Stoop.
Yeah, love that from Skips there, Sarah Hunter, questioning the ref about the passing lane of Claudia McDonald. Obviously, England want quick ball. She's just planting that seed in the referee's head, and she'll be looking out for that now.
Bottom and Saracens loose head. Got a couple of Premier 15s titles there. And she gets a penalty as well. You've got to release that tackle player on the floor, so she's got that opportunity to place back. And that's Dalika Menon there. She'll be frustrated with that. Menon, she is playing at Exeter Chiefs at the moment, but Menon has also played a little bit of rugby at Loughborough Lightning as well. We're talking a lot about the players who've been in the Premier 15s. It's calculated around 25 to 30 players from North America over the last 2 years have been playing in the Premier 15s. As Byrne comes again, this time it's in touch.
Yeah, unfortunately, those moves never work. I played hooker for many years, and I always called those moves, and I always got tackled into touch. But it's good to see the Red Roses using a bit of variation, just changing the picture.
No, you've been around some of those moves. What do you make?
I think it's a good move. Obviously, Sarah Byrne's got Amy Cocaine on the outside, so she's gone at the inside shoulder. Miller's done really well to read it, just go low, throw herself at Sarah Byrne's legs. We've just seen how powerful she is.
Okay, so first knock on at the line out, then second by red.
Okay, so Abby Ward did get a hand on it. You would say you don't want to throw anywhere in the line where Abby Ward is.
Okay. But if you throw anywhere where Abby Ward isn't, you've also got Zoe Allcroft that's there. So both of them absolute menaces. They read it so well. The speed at which they get into the air, obviously that's down to the strength as well of their lifters, but they really are becoming such a fantastic pair in that line out.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
All eyes at the moment on Hannah Bottomann's bind.
Coming up. Symbol.
Red Rose has got to be careful here not to push through the mark.
Stability.
And Hannah Bottomann's doing the seagull impression, looking at the touch judge, and that does not help you. I'm telling you now.
What would help her?
Getting that elbow up, not pushing through the mark. When that ball comes in, be explosive like she is. Just look at her elbow, it's flirting with the grass quite a bit when she gets too low. And that's what the touch judge is looking for. If that touches the ground first, it's going against her.
Set!
She's just adjusted her bind just there. That is solid, and Canada come away with the ball. Poulin there, off her wing, happy to take on the ball. De Marchand. Come back with the ball once again. This time it's Forteza. Also Holtkamp going forward, but over the top and sealing.
And you've gone off.
It's just such clever play by Poppy Cleal. What she does is she goes for the double hit, allows that tackle to happen. Cabella gets her to floor, and she just flops over the top. I'm not sure who was over for Canada, but flops over the top to make it really obvious that she's off her feet. Just watch this, stays on her feet, allows that tackle to go to floor. Paquin it is on the floor, so she's just going over saying, I would compete, but I can't because her chest is on the player on the floor, which is obviously illegal.
Now this is a really interesting decision from England. Normally throughout this campaign we have seen them kick for the corners because they're building a score, but with this scoreline so tight, we've just seen a very rare occasion that they've opted for the sticks.
Yeah, smart rugby and very respectful of a strong, dominant sort of Canada side. It's a reflection of the game and what they need to do. They need to build a score. So every time that they're in this part of the field, they need to treat it like gold dust. You know, they need to leave with time spent here and ultimately points on the board.
And they have lined up another 3 points just to edge a little bit further away there from the Canadians. So many happy faces here at the Stoop today, enjoying a wonderful test match so far as we close in on that half-time whistle. It's worth mentioning that Canada, they've never actually won a game on English soil. The stats book is working against them, but they've got a nice position here. Referee Holly Davidson just getting in a bit of walking traffic. Holly Davidson's 16th test today. Scotswoman.
Back row. Run. Crouch. Bind. Set.
What an opportunity this could be for Canada if they can do something. Miller, Belchoster-Goody, Tessier. Once again, Poulin, still Poulin going. Great work there by the Stade Rennais woman. She goes over for Canada's second. They are here to play. Where was the English defence that was ferocious earlier on in this half? Totally caught napping, and Poulin goes over.
Unfortunately, it comes from a position of strength, I suppose, off a kickoff. But we drop the ball here, and that's a coach's nightmare. It's a position of strength, the set piece, catch that ball, you can then kick and exit. Knock on there, you've given Canada the opportunity to play within your half, and a bit of individual brilliance here, if I'm honest.
Yeah, you just see as Poulin carries this ball, Heather Cowell's sliding on the out. She's worried about the two outside her. Langi Tuima just doesn't quite have the legs. Poulin on the arc, just really accelerating into that space. As that gap opens, she just takes the hole. It's a brilliant finish by the Canadian winger.
Can I ask a question? I know Tuima plays her club rugby at 12, and I've seen her in an England shirt at 12. Defending at 13, could that be slightly more challenging for her there?
Oh yeah, defending at 13, I'm sure Emily Scarrett will pick this up in the halftime chat, but for me it's one of the hardest positions to defend at, because every time you talk about your backs moves, you're looking to pincer that 13 channel, because generally you've got a winger that wants to go, and when the timing of the 15 coming into the line as well. So definitely a really, really tough decision, whether you hit or whether you keep sliding on the out.
No conversion then from Miller. It remains a 3-point game. We should also say Poulin, we talk a lot about the strength of the Premier 15s League in England. It's Poulin who actually has been playing her rugby at Stade Rennais in the French League. Again, a very strong women's league, arguably the two best leagues in the whole of the world. And she's been plying her trade over in France. Big hit they're coming in for Forteza. Stab border late. Holtkamp. Tessier.
Hold in front. Yeah.
Read nicely by McKenna. She knows Rowland is there. Belchester Goody with a good hit there on Rowland. McDonald back to Harrison.
Right in front, hold. Oh no.
Miller.
Hold, hold, hold. Are they ever onside?
Hope you like a little bit of aerial rugby because we've got a little bit more.
15-22.
A slight mistake there by the Canadians in the end, and Alyssa Allery, she just puts her arm up in the air there. She knows the mistake she's made, and it just gives England that little opportunity now to do something ahead of the half-time whistle.
Yeah, a little bit of tit-for-tat there, aerial battle. As a front rower, I used to stand on the halfway line and just wait for it to finish.
Very sensible. What a throw to the back there by Cockayne. Cleel. She is just touching her head there, Cleel. Did look like she might have caught something towards the head.
Volley with a high tackle on 8, penalty only.
They are going to come back then.
On number 8.
Our television match officials just come in and given that. Just a penalty.
It was by 10 red.
Yeah. By number 10. Yeah, 10.
Marks on the 10-metre line.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Well, it was quite a nasty head-to-head there between Cleel and also Belchester Goody. Cleel is just having a chat with the doctor. Not sure if she'll go off for a head injury assessment.
Yeah, she was the second tackler there. You're often in that compromised position of being upright, whether to hit high, finish a tackle, affect the ball like we saw Byrne do before and try and rip. And often when you're upright, obviously you can get that head-on-head situation. I don't think there's any malice in it, just a bit of poor technique.
Last thing that we'll see then, unless it's another penalty, England with the ball. Still got a whole 22 to travel to find that Canadian whitewash. There's no one on this near side for England. Everyone's out towards the right. McDonald releases Rowland.
Off feet.
Penalty advantage to the Red Roses. The distribution doesn't matter. They've still got the penalty advantage. Byrne. She scored one. She fancies another. Cleel.
Love that when it's getting a bit
What
loose.
a distribution there by Cleel, off the floor, out wide to Cow. She scored one, can she score another? Support there when it doesn't need it. Cow for a double on her debut. The Harlequins wing is on show in front of a home crowd, brought up in Twickenham. This is what debut dreams are made of.
I was saying he was getting a little bit loose there. Penalty advantage, you want to use that advantage, but doesn't mean it gets too loose. Playing sevens rugby, offload here and there. Sarah Byrne gets that ball and gives direction, good leg drives, gets them on the front foot, and then from there, good decision making, moving that ball.
Yeah, it's lovely play. Too often we see referees call it because the ball's actually gone backwards, but love that that was allowed to play, even though Zoe Harrison got hit so far behind the gain line. And again, Zoe Harrison, just wonderful hands.
Went to Canada, so I'll stand that side to ensure there's squareness, and the AR deal with anything on that side.
Well, you can hear at the moment that was Sarah Hunter again going and having a chat with Holly Davidson, the referee, as we just see Heather Cow finishing off her Heather Cow business.
Little and often from the skipper.
Keep drip feeding it in. Oh, off the post then by Harrison. Well, it's been a fantastic half of rugby. The Red Roses have been really tested for the first time this autumn. Canada are here. They want to test the world number ones. They've scored a couple of tries of their own, but it is England who are ahead. They lead 20 points to 12 at the break. Well, both teams just...
Well, two of the world's best three teams, and boy, they haven't disappointed, have they? A debut to remember for Heather Cow. An early try from her, setting England on their way, but Canada came right back in it. Paige Ferrers with the pace out wide to edge Canada ahead. But prop Sarah Byrne, she's always a handful. You're not going to stop her from 5 metres out as England retook the lead. But that didn't last long, did it? Because Sabrina Poulin on the wing for Canada was stretching away. Another score for the visitors. And we've got a real game on our hands, haven't we? Because England scored again just before the break. Heather Cowell having a debut to remember on her home turf with her second score of a really very busy first 40 for us to chat about with Maggie Alfonsi and Emily Scarrett. First of all, wow, we did talk about Canada, Emily, in the build-up to this game as providing a challenge to the Red Roses. Are you surprised maybe they've been as good as they have been in this first 40?
To be honest, no. I think, you know, they haven't played much together, but they're a very, very good side with very, very good individuals, and they've really met kind of England in that physical battle, as we spoke about pre-game. They've managed to stall them all, which has been so potent for this English side, and they've been able to put them under pressure, and most importantly for this Canadian side, they've managed to put a decent amount of points on the board as well.
Yeah, and at the start of the game, we talked about it was going to be a battle of attrition between the two teams, and Canada came up from the outset with their physicality. I mean, look, they were absolutely brutal all around the field. You know, for me, what I thought they did very well was a couple of times with regards to their maul. So, you know, we talked about England having a great maul, but Canada almost played England at their own game. They set up really well, they keep going, and England just don't know how to throw players into almost slow and stop the maul. You know, Canada are just gaining ground all the time, eating territory, and it's really impressive play from them from the outset of the start of the game. But, you know, Canada did several things which were really good about their performance today. They've been good in the scrum, they've been good in trying to get over the gain line, and it's just trying to make sure that they can get dominance. And again, England have showed that they've been good in scrum areas, but Canada absolutely destroyed them there. And then look at the tackling here. Look at this big hit on Tuima. Absolutely amazing. Gets underneath the player and puts them to the ground. But look, Canada have done some good stuff, but they haven't always been perfect. There's a couple of times they've almost switched off. They've given away almost good possession to England, and England just found themselves getting back into the game. And in this situation here, look, England take a quick tap. All the Canadian players are facing the wrong way. And look at that massive space out wide to the right. Cowell spots it and finds the gap. You know, Canada just need to almost play that, again, complete 40 minutes. Make sure they stay switched on and don't let England get back into the game, which they have been doing.
Yeah, look, Canada, they come off the line really well defensively. They always get themselves set. They always come really square. Sometimes it means they leave wingers on their own, like Heather Cowell, we've seen in a lot of space, but that's what they do. They come hard, they come straight, and when they hit you really, really hard. So, look, they've come out, they've set their stall out in terms of what they want to do physically, and so far, you know, it's going well for them.
Almost interesting psychology for England, because Sarah Orchard made the point in commentary, they hadn't been behind in this series. Then Paige Ferry scores, and suddenly what will England be thinking at that point?
Look, I think they have a huge amount of respect for this Canadian side. We saw that when they chose to take the 3 points. But look, Canada, again, just looking at their line speed, they come really hard, they work really well together, and England have probably made a few handling errors that we didn't see in the last couple of weeks, and it gifted Farries that opportunity to run in. Look, England do respect Canada, they know what they're capable of. Obviously that one's a bit more of a gift, but they're obviously able to work and get themselves down the field in their own right as well.
I actually think Canada are targeting Tuima. So we talked about the 13 position being really important and really hard to defend at. I mean, Emily Scarrett's a bit of a pro at that position, but it's really hard to really be that good attacking player, and Tuima's almost struggling. She's got no space, and Canada are putting pressure on her, and as a result of that, they've scored 2 tries from that.
Did England perhaps play try and overplay, if you like, a little bit at times in that first? So when the try for Sarah Byrne, is that them just going, right, hang on a minute, let's just go route one here?
Yeah, I think, look, England almost, in certain areas, you've almost got to be quite composed and try not to overplay it. But when England have done it really well, they have been direct, and I've seen that a couple of times. Look, they've got some big key players like Sarah Byrne, Bottoman. Here, look, McDonald picks the ball, goes for it, almost forces Canada to commit 1, 2, 3 players. And then we see it again, the key forwards picking the ball, finding the opportunity to find space. And Byrne, we've highlighted here, she's been absolutely phenomenal in this first half. She sees the gaps, she's very strong, and she's very hard to stop. You know, we talked about in the commentary, if you're going to tackle her, you have to go low. And she scored.
drilled into the line-out and taken confidently. And now it's the rolling maul. Edges, ever closer, ever nearer. Carys Phillips, back in the starting lineup. And that's what it means to her and her teammates.
Set! Stay!
Springboks drum under pressure. It's twisted, and Lillicrap picks, gives, and it's a walk-in for Ffion Lewis. And Wales have started with a bang. Carys Phillips sniffs a second. Carys Phillips, welcome back. It's smiles all round in the sun at the Cardiff Arms Park. Tosay. Oh, too easy for South Africa, and that's a magnificent finish for Mabange. One-on-one against Lewis, and Mabange made it look so easy. Wales comes the shout from the touchline. The supporters sense that there's a try coming, and a try does come, and it's a 4 for Wales. And surely Carys Phillips, his hat-trick, seals the deal, and Wales will win this afternoon.
Leave it.
South Africa, through Ross, 3 against 1, dances past 1, she has the support, she uses the support. There are players already celebrating from South Africa, and they do deserve that try. They may not win, but certainly the Springboks have scored the try of this match. You get the sense that the South Africans would like to play for another 20 minutes, because when they're in full flow, they are absolutely wonderful. And that, through Van Rensburg, is another try of the highest quality. Fantastic, brilliant, outstanding. And it's South Africa who end this game smiling and celebrating.
Yeah, South Africa ending that one in positive fashion, but it was the second win on the bounce for Wales after their previous victory over Japan. But England, if they're going to get a third win of the autumn, have got it all to do in this second 40 against Canada. So let's hear the thoughts of England coach Simon Middleton.
Well, Simon, when we spoke before this match, you said that Canada have nothing to lose, and they're certainly playing like that. A strong performance from England, but a very different feeling to this first half than we've seen in the last 2 matches.
Yeah, we knew all along this was going to be a really tough game for us. I think that people probably didn't believe us. Got a little bit swept away with the last 2 performances, but you can see they're fantastically well drilled. They're really well coached. They've got a good set piece, you know, and they're incredibly fit. So they'll keep going right to the very end. So what we've got is a great test match, which is what we want to see.
What was said at half-time?
I said there's not a right lot wrong with what we were doing. We were just in a really good test match, you know. And these are the test matches you want to play in. You know, we've given them a couple of helping hands, and they've been really clinical off the back of it. We played some good stuff. They're really challenging our set piece. So, you know, we just got to stay in the fight. A couple of things, just got to speed the breakdown up a little bit and just play through them before we go to the edges.
Thanks very much, Simon. Best of luck.
Pleasure, thank you.
Yeah, really interesting 40 minutes to come between England and Canada. It's an interesting time actually in general, isn't it, Emily, for the women's game as a whole. We see the progress that's being made. Just give us an idea of the standard, if you like, that England have set down with the RFU investing.
Yeah, look, we've had professional contracts now for a couple of years, which is amazing. It was the first kind of senior women's side to have those contracts, and the opportunities that's given us in terms of our ability to train at a higher level rest harder, which sounds like a silly thing to say, but that's so important when you're a professional athlete. Wales have obviously now followed suit in terms of their own professional contracts, and I suppose the hope is that, you know, everybody's seen how well England have kicked on and the levels that they're now playing at. That hopefully puts pressure on other unions in order to do the same for their women's side, to continue to grow the level and increase the ability of these sides.
Yeah, Maggie was saying that Wales are now offering professional contracts. That's a positive step forward for them. Ireland, though, I mean, they had a good win on Friday night against the USA, but it was a controversial build-up. There was an interview given by the man who heads up the women's programme over there, Anthony Eddy, and he appeared to lay the blame for Ireland not qualifying for the Women's World Cup sort of squarely at the feet of the players. Then there was sort of controversy on Twitter. One of the players came out and called his remarks slurry, and then the players all rode in behind her to support her. Just look what is going on in Ireland, and how much do we need a strong Ireland in terms of the Six Nations overall?
We need a very strong Ireland. We need a very strong women's several different nations, because it really does raise the game. Look, if you think about it, in 2017, Ireland hosted the Women's Rugby World Cup, and unfortunately, it's almost as if Ireland's gone backwards. But what's really pleasing about what's happened recently, sad to see those comments come out from Anthony Eddy, but what was pleasing to see the support behind the Irish women's side, and they all come out very strong. And if anything, it's almost encouraged the fact that there needs to be more support for that side, but also many other women's side. You know, through almost pressure, we saw the Welsh side get more support, and now have got contracts. So you've got to start somewhere, and I think really now the pressure is starting to build.
It is. We've got an interesting 40 minutes to come here between these two teams who have laid on a real spectacle of women's rugby in this first period here. Let's go back to commentators. Dylan Hartley, Natasha Hunt, Sarah Orchard.
Thanks, Sonia. Hope you enjoyed that first 40 minutes. We certainly did. And there is still another 40 still to come. And Canada, since they've come out onto the field, pretty much to a woman, they have all been smiles. They have been calm. They're enjoying themselves out there, aren't they, Natasha Hunt?
Yeah, they are, and every time they get themselves into this game, you can just see the energy lift from the whole team, and it's brilliant to see. We have a proper test match here.
Interestingly, Dylan, both teams have gone for a 6-2 split on the bench. So they've got 6 forwards and 2 backs to deploy in this second half. What does that say perhaps about what both of them were expecting to come up against?
That's both coaches suggesting that this game's going to be really physical and set-piece dominant. I would be really interested to see who that hybrid player is if we need an extra back. Mo, who do you think that would be?
Alex Matthews. No question. With her sevens background, just her ability to spot a gap, her handling skills, her pace, everything about her. She could be out in the backs any day of the week.
Well, there you go. You ask a question from Natasha Hunt, you get an answer. Right then, Helena Rowland will be the woman who wants to get us underway in this second half. And we are back underway. It's an 8-point game at the moment. And Canada will build up another head of steam to try and close in that gap. 24 tests in a row that England have now won on home soil. They're on a run of 17 wins overall, home and away.
Please stay on.
Should say 16 wins, 17 if they hold on to this scoreline. Miller. Oh, charged down by Cleo.
Great first set from England there. I mean, it came from 2 low shots. Great dominant tackle, slow ball at the ruck. When you get slow ball at the ruck, you get people on feet, people organised, you get tall people onto the right foot of the box kick. Really good organisation, good pressure early on from the Red Roses.
Bryony was watching that one very closely. The Manitoba-born Emily Titosi winning only her 4th cap, just slightly floating that one to the side. Holly Davidson agrees, and it will be an English scrum.
What do you want?
As Dylan was saying, really good set. Exactly what you want coming out in the second half. You've just talked about everything you want to work on. Completed the set, really good charge down, pressure on.
Well, you don't have to have a scrum. You can retake the line out, and that's what England have opted to do. Rowland manages to give it to Cabea.
Yeah, good 7.
Hunter. One of North Shield's finest, showing off the meters that she can make. Cleo. McDonald down the line. It's Byrne again. She scored once. Can she do it? She's going over the line. It's Byrne for a double. She has been absolutely brutal so far in this test match. She smiles all the time. Don't let that fool you. She is one tough cookie with 2 tries to her name.
Yeah, she's just a machine, and I absolutely love to see it. She's such a good person to be around, but what about this for a line? Love this angle. You just see the inside-outside option. It's actually Harrison that picks the right option, and there's no stopping Sarah Byrne. 5 metres out from the try line in the form she's in. Really good acceleration off the mark. She thinks about the footwork, but in the end thinks, nah, I'm just going to go straight over her. Brilliant finish.
I mean, it's a subtle difference between taking the ball, running away from the ball on that overs line, away from the ball. She took the ball nice and square, flat on the line. And we talked about the modern tight head. We just saw a glimpse there. You know, I was expecting her to run straight over that fullback, but a little bit of footwork. Talented player, very talented.
Yeah, it's just a lovely option, isn't it? Straight across the face of Abby Ward. Harrison has both options to hit, which makes the defence sit down, and the sea just parted for Sarah Byrne. Nobody wants to tackle her at the minute, and I don't blame them.
Canada have made an early change then in the second half. Emma Taylor has gone off, and Tyson Bookaboom is on the field. Bookaboom also has a brother who's played for Canada as well. Quite the sporting family. She's also played a bit of ice hockey. Her dad played in the NHL. Have to say ice hockey, they'd just say hockey, of course, in Canada.
Tackle.
Tessier manages to feed through the middle. Miller.
Advantage, knock on.
England then, they've got a free shot here. McKenna under big pressure there, manages in the end to get it away to Tuima. McDonald. No one in there for scrum half. McKenna eventually arrives. Aldcroft. Hannah Butterman just shooing Canadians out of the way. Harrison. Got another change there. You can see on the field now is Renee Gonzalez. Not long after this, she'll be heading out to Dubai to take part in the sevens. Very quick feet if she's given the opportunity. There is Bookaboom. Tessier down the line, managed by Kaljuvi. Paquin is there as well. Through the hands, this is nice stuff. Paquin once again, huge hit there. McKenna there, couldn't get out quick enough. Canada with the penalty. Miller with a little chip over the top. Dow gathers, and we come back for the penalty.
Really good identification of space by Canada there. I mean, as much as I love Poppy Clare on her physicality, she's not as quick as the Canada backs there. As you see that sort of 2-on-1 come to fruition through Poppy not being as quick. But great defence there on the last line.
Yeah, and the crowd absolutely loved that one as well, didn't they? Nice of McKenna to put a shot like that in front of them. For me, though, Canada are burning a number in the wide channels. They've got a dummy runner coming in nice and early, and they're just not an option because of the timing of it. So I'd like to see them hold their feet, potentially just go hands, create that extra number. But really well worked, attack down that far side.
We've just been told that Renee Gonzalez is, because we're having an HIA at the moment, so we'll keep you updated on that. And if she stays on the field, and we've got a breakaway then by Farris. She scored in the first half. Can she do it? Switch back direction. They think they've got more numbers out on that far side. Menin. Miller. Taken on this time by Tutosi. Bookaboom. Arguably the best name in rugby, let's face it. Tessier. Spins it out. In the end, it's Allery. Gonzalez can't take.
Use it!
Harrison with the boots.
Hold. Good night.
Miller is there. Gonzalez as well. That's off Gonzalez's foot twice. Paquin. Bukaboon. She straightens things up. What a steal there at the base there from England. Dow then bouts out to Cleo. They're trying to keep this alive. Helena Rowland still going.
Stay.
McDonald to Ward, the 50 capper.
Nope.
Bottoman.
Off the leg, play on, off the leg.
Referee happy for it to continue all backwards.
Knock on there, Maria. Okay.
And in the end, it's an English knock-on that stops play. Hunter right up in Holly Davidson's face.
It's a knock-on by White.
This was the straighten up there by Bukaboon. She has made quite the impact since she's come on.
Love that second tackler option there, targeting the ball. It would have been easy for Ward just to drop her shoulder in there, go off her feet, complete the tackle, but she's seen the ball exposed. Great reef.
I think they've got away with one there because it looked like Bukaboom's knee was down on the floor as that ball's being stripped. Advantage England, but we really do have a game on our hands, don't we?
But we all know, kids, you play to the referee, you play to that whistle.
Crouch!
You might have noticed there that Tyson Bukaboon, she had a little bit of orange around her strapping. Any orange you actually see on the Canadian players actually is recognising Canada's Indigenous heritage. And a lot of the players, it might be a ribbon, it might be a bit of strapping, either around the head or around the leg.
Need a better height.
They're very keen to mark that.
Where would you go here, Mo?
Crouch!
Centre field scrum, both sides to play. Where do you go?
Bind!
I love an 8-9-15 down the right-hand side, but the way that England are set up, there is an opportunity. As I say that, Alyssa Allery is just making her way across.
Miller, Tessier.
Hold, 13-6!
Just forcing Dow to turn there and gather the ball. She's under big pressure there, Dow.
6 in front
but
of the
offside.
Kicker. Always advancing.
I don't think they've quite heard that the whistle has gone.
In front of the kicker and always advancing.
It's an absolute killer giving away a penalty like that. You're obviously going to kick. Everyone knows that that's an option. Holly Davidson's very clearly chatting that up, telling her to stop running, and if you keep advancing, there's no other decision. And now England have got an amazing attacking opportunity to potentially put this game to bed.
Be interesting to see the mindset here, whether they go for the jugular, the perceived strength in their maul. Canada have so far defended it exceptionally well, or do they kind of have a quick kind of breakout play? Be interested to see what happens here.
Well, you just saw there Sandro Fiorino, the Canada coach. He's just made a change there. You can see going off Gabby Senft. They're bringing on Pamphonette Benza. Plays a rugby for Ottawa Irish. She's also played a little bit of sevens. She was in the Canadian Tokyo Sevens squad at the Olympics. She's going to need to put a little bit more grunt in here than seven skills as soon as she comes onto the field. Cocaine feeds McDonald. She's trying to get the ball away. Still McDonald! Oh, she touches down the Wasp scrum half. Her fourth try in a white shirt. Taking her opportunities when they come. Didn't need the support from Tuima, and that scoreline looking a lot more comfortable if you're an England fan.
No issues.
Yeah, it's a really nice play, isn't it, from them all? Brilliant to see Claudia McDonald dotting it down, but you heard her chatting to Amy Cocaine saying, go now, go now. Short line from Helena Rowland, a little bit early, but just the strength and power that Claudia McDonald has. Brushes off Tessier, who probably needs to do better, again, that close to the line. When you've got quads like Claudia McDonald, though, it's hard to get your arms around them.
Yeah, she uses them well, stays on her feet well and pumps her legs. But Tuima did a great job there running a hard line, attracted a couple of defenders, obviously created that gap in the defence. So everyone doing their jobs. And the best thing about that, they didn't play away from that maul when the ref said it's basically dead, use it. They did it on their terms, which is really positive.
Well, that was the handoff there on Tessier. Big smiles there for Claudia McDonald.
Can you just do that off the side of it so we're not stopping?
Usually One of the HIAs for Canada was Emily Belchar-Goody, which will slightly disrupt things when it's your main playmaker goes off. She's actually hanging around the technical area, so she could be about to come back on, having passed that. Sadia Kabir there on debut, getting heavily involved.
Stay there. Good.
Gonzalez. Someone has got to tackle her, and she's got support on her shoulder through Menin. Well, that is a penalty, and this is a nice position for Canada.
11.
A try now, just put them back in that area where they feel they're still in this fixture.
I was about to applaud England's sort of exit there compared to the previous kickoff that we saw. They did everything right. Good carry by Poppy Cleal, cleared their lines, but then you've got to back that up with work rate and effort to make this tackle here.
Okay.
You say work rate as well. Abby Dow is the one that's up here chasing. She's actually the same person that gets back. You watch her now, gets back and makes that hit, which is just brilliant. Her work rate is phenomenal at the moment. Why she's picked as being one of the best players in the world right now.
Well, Emily Belchar-Goody has passed her HIA. She's back on the field, meaning Gonzalez has come off. And you do feel that slightly disrupted that back play there for Canada.
No.
When you've only got 2 backs on the bench, it really can confuse things.
Go again. Both teams stay down until the ball is thrown. Yep.
Abby Ward is harassing this Canadian line-out. England is set first every time. They're waiting, they're talking up the options, they're pointing them out, they're watching them walk in, and that's why the hooker is throwing not straights, because Abby Ward's getting up in front every time or alongside, and it's getting in the hooker's head to push that ball, obviously, to the red side of the line-out.
Dylan Hartley, former England captain, here with us as they do manage to get one.
Yeah, I never missed the line-out. Ever.
Look at that shove there from the white shirts. Gathered then by Tutosi. We're playing advantage to the Canadians. Not the best distribution from Miller, but Tessier still has it. Nice run round the corner then by Menin. Pop ball, here comes the captain, Marchand. Miller. Belchar-Goody doesn't quite realise where Poulin is.
No advantage. 8 early.
And the warning there is against Poppy Cleal, and you do feel that Canada need to do something with this period of possession and territory.
Yeah, I don't think this penalty would really bother Lewis Deacon, the obviously line-out coach. It's not like they've been pinged for that all day. It was a statement of intent. England basically saying you're not coming through our maul, and I don't think a forwards coach really minds an early shove every now and then.
Canada going for that quick tap option as Holtkamp took it forward. Still working forward. Belchar-Goody having to tidy things out. What a hit on Miller from Bottoman. That was out.
2 knock-ons. First by Red.
Well, Bottoman will enjoy that. She was alive to where that ball was, and she might have just bought England some precious time and territory.
No, 1, 2, and 9.
Just brilliant timing, isn't it, from Bottoman? Exactly what you don't want as a scrum half at the back, especially when you're in this red zone. So important that they came away with points right there. But fantastic timing from Bottoman on our screen right now.
Really nice effort, because what she's done there is what we talk about double efforts. She's obviously made a great impact tackle, and she's got back to her feet and got on that ball. It would have been too easy for her just to make a tackle, celebrate that, think my job's done, lie on the floor, let someone else do it, but she got back to her feet, got the ball, and a lot of the best players in the world, you look at the double efforts that they make.
Big moment then for Laura Russell, who comes onto the field. It's her 50th cap as she slots in to the front row there. She's only the 4th woman to achieve that for Canada. One of the others is her sister, Kelly. As the ball just comes away there, popped off by England in a tight spot. Harrison can't get out, they're gonna have to touch down.
I didn't see it. Final scrum, taken back by White.
Well, a big moment then, straight away then, for Laura Russell at the front of this scrum. And it's Poppy Cleal who was caught there, and they managed to just disrupt the ball, and nothing Harrison could do.
Was stripped in the tackle, and then it was played forward by Red. It should be a White scrum.
Okay, time off. It's stripped back, it's stripped forward, so it's going to be a white scrum. Same mark, white scrum.
Well, there you go. England do get the ball. It was stripped.
So it's a white scrum. If you strip the ball forward, it's deemed the same as a knock-on.
Well, there you go. Canada.
They get second chance to clear their lines. The last one didn't go so well, so we'll see what they've learned from this.
Crouch. Bind.
Apologise for any language you might have heard there over our on-pitch microphones. A little bit of frustration there from the English front row.
I do love that from a scrum half, helping the referee the game. All scrum halves are referees themselves. The power of influence.
Why do scrum halves get so much stick? I don't understand. They are some of the best, most knowledgeable rugby players, which is why they try and help everyone else around the pitch.
And they're very, very chatty, and that's why they end up in co-coms.
What's your excuse?
All right, everyone. Calm down, calm down. I am stood between these two up here, probably for the best at the moment. As our third 50 capper of the afternoon, Laura Russell, gets ready to put the ball in. I said that her sister Kelly Russell, she's also got 53 caps for Canada and now heads up the Maple Leafs Academy, bringing through a lot of very good players alongside Christy Martin-Hale.
Option, scrummer line up.
Just going to wait for a few players to get up off the floor. There's a bit of a tangle of legs and bodies. There is a couple of Canadian players that maybe you might have been keeping an eye out for. Sophie de Goody, who's a very good player for Saracens when she's available. She's actually been playing for her university this weekend. They always knew that she was going to go back and play. It's her final university game in the U Championships. It's very big, important championships in Canada. But it'll be the last time that she's on university duty rather than Canada duty. A lot of people will find that a bit of an odd decision, but that university pathway very important to the Canadians as Simon Middleton and also alongside him Lewis Deacon look on. They'll be probably a lot happier in this second half than they were in the first.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
Pelletier there, reserve scrum half, who's now on the field. Feed to Belchos to Goody. Farris looking for work. They managed to get it out to the far side. Poulin. Pelletier, Paquin, Buisa. Pelletier there, just trying to get that ball quickly. Couldn't quite take it. Menon.
Advantage. Knock on.
I mean, really, really great kind of first phase attack. It reminds me of the Australian men's team yesterday. When they get it wide, they look so dangerous. My only concern is coming back. The last player here was basically inside the 15 metres towards the post, sorry. And it's so easy for England to defend. And that last person was the substitute hooker as well. So I'm assuming not as much gas as a winger. So they need to create that width and get the ball to the width to obviously make England defend them and create gaps. Because England will have to defend them if they stand wider. England have to mark those people, create bigger spaces.
Too much pressure from both sides. Just keep the space back.
This is what I'm talking about earlier. The timing of the line was so much better from Tessier, just on that inline. An actual option so that it holds defences, just creates that little bit of an opportunity on the outside. I think she can still be a touch later. Allery catching that static. If she's coming onto that ball as well, then potentially Poulin is screaming down that wing, but much better play from what we've seen in the first part of this second half.
It's just gone down on this near side. Rowland. Poulin chasing the ball. White shirts arriving fast. McDonald and Hunter team up in the end. Penalty for England. This is the first real bit of territory, an important penalty for England to get. It's all been about Canada recently, but oh, look at that. What a quartet to be able to bring off your bench. If I was Canadian, I'd be nervous.
It's devastating, isn't it? The experience, the wealth in how they play, everything about the four that we've just seen on screen. Absolutely brilliant. You wouldn't want to be facing that, especially as this game starts to run away from Canada.
I just hope Marley Packer's coming on at 12. I really, really want to see it. We're talking about hybrid players. I'd just like to see that today.
Marley Packer is smiling, by the way, there, because she's actually can see directly where the cameras have been focusing on them in the technical area. But we're going to focus on Zoe Harrison, who's getting ready to get this kick away. You might have seen in our build-up, she was talking about how she got into her rugby. She started playing with her brothers, Alex and Eddie. She was the one, though, who ended up in the white shirt. And that is why. What a kick from Harrison, and it's good to see England doing these kicks from these positions, because not every match when it comes to World Cup time will be as straightforward, and these penalty kicks are important.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's just so nice for me to see Zoe Harrison really growing in confidence, becoming an absolute leader, somebody that needs to be on the pitch, driving these Red Roses around, because she's really come into her own in this autumn series, and it's just amazing to see.
Okay, so you saw the four replacements that came on: Davis, Cornborough, Matthews and Packer.
She's always inside. 8 got the ball inside, pass it to 12.
They are on, and they are on to cause problems.
I suppose at 34-12, it's a really mature decision from the leadership group there to take the points, just to keep the scoreboard ticking over, grow the pressure.
Especially because the second half has begun to get a little bit scrappy as well. Lots of turnover.
Number 4.
Really smart, as you say. Just keep that scoreboard ticking. Keep the game running away from Canada.
Well, there you go. Also, Zoe Allcroft is taking a seat. Harriet Miller-Mills is now onto the field. Virtually a completely fresh forward lineup at the moment for England. Russell, stolen by Ward.
Advantage side out 3.
Penalty advantage as well then for England from this position.
Entry, number 3.
Well, it was against Dalika Menon. She's one of the more experienced players there in this Canadian side. 31st cap today.
It's a great defensive read by England there. I mean, the hooker can't do too much more. Probably put another foot on that ball, but it's great pressure by England.
Okay. 13.
Well, England really releasing the bench then. Holly Aitchison coming onto the field.
Time's off.
Looks like Langi Tuima is making way.
Time's off.
Not too much of a smile there from Langi Tuima. Played a bit of rugby down at Plymouth Albion before going to Bristol and then eventually landing at Harlequins. Holly Aitchison made her debut, of course, against New Zealand just 2 weeks ago. Incredible throw there by Lark Davis. Popped off ball, here comes Packer. The Yeovil plumber powering through. Millar-Mills, Davis. Cleel. Pass out wide. Rowland, what a handoff!
Knock on by Red.
In the end, it has gone forward from Canada, so it will still be an England scrum. And look at that from Marley Packer, geeing up the team. This is what she does all the time.
Yeah, it's a really good line-out, as you say, but when you've got the ability of your hookers to hit from the back, what I want to see is Zoe Harrison go a channel wider. She can move as that ball's in air just to get on the outside of that 10, so that everything happens one channel wider. You almost lose the defenders. At the minute, what England are doing is they're just staying exactly where they are, no matter where the ball's coming into that line-out. But as you mentioned, Marley Packer on screen, she's an absolute crowd favourite. She's brilliant. She really does G up everyone around her.
She's got 21 on her back. She actually was running like a 12 there. They've used her on a nice crash ball. And I suppose, whoa, language. language there, Marley. I suppose with 15 minutes to go, you've got Marley Packer coming on, who is a foghorn of energy. You can hear her all over the field. She'll be bringing the energy in the last 15 minutes when some teams go to sleep. This team certainly won't with her on the field.
Well, Emily Belchos, de Goody then coming off. She's not happy about it. 29th cap for her today as she makes her way off the field. Big cheer goes up as Sarah Byrne also comes off the field. She was just cramping up a bit there in that last passenger pay. So Maud Muir of Wasps is back onto the field. Sarah Byrne smiling. I mentioned Maud Muir that she plays her rugby at Wasps. I was actually contacted by a Wasps in England legend. I am allowed to say that in the form of Claire Purdy, because I know Natasha Hunt will smile as I say her name. She did contact me to tell me that she, at the moment, is the only England player who's played 1, 2 and 3. But Maud Muir, who goes on now as a tight head, she can play 1, 2 and 3.
Yeah, she can. She's a brilliant rugby player, absolute baller. She's playing fantastically well for Wasps, which is why at the minute she's keeping players like Shauna Brown out of the team.
Cleo then takes the ball quickly, comes away then to Matthews, shrugging the shoulders, Canadians falling off her. McDonald looks up, everyone wants it, too many people want it. Penalty.
On the 9 by 17. On the 9 by 17.
They're thinking about taking it quickly, then change their minds. Is that a good decision for just calming things down slightly? Everyone getting a bit excited, lots of replacements coming on the field.
Yeah, this is when the game can get a little bit loose, and I think it's, again, pretty good maturity just to simmer it down a bit and secure a little bit of territory. And let's see how this maul goes, because so far Canada have defended it all day long.
Oh, that's just off the fingertips at the back, so Canada hold on.
Okay, she's fine, but it's lost forward by White at the line-out.
Well, they'll come back then for that Canadian scrum.
You just mentioned Marley Packer coming off the bench and the energy that she brought, but just now when the penalty was awarded, as you see that line-out go off the top, Holly Aitchison's actually sprinted in the backfield to get some width on the far touchline so that they've got the option to go quickly, and that is exactly what you want from your bench when it comes on, just lifting the energy, driving that tempo.
Bind!
Free kick then to Canada. After building all of that territory and possession, Canada get to clear things away.
Yeah, unfortunately for Maud Muir there, she's showed the touch judge that she's gone for a bit of a skydive. She was first down, fair free kick.
Well, Tessier manages to find touch on this near side as Maud Muir makes her way across. Still a very young player there, Maud Muir. Only 20 years old, although she was beaten to the youngest player today by Cabea, who's 19. McDonald, Harrison, Rowland. Helena Rowland has really had a box of tricks today, you have to say, been heavily involved in everything. Still pushing out to the far side, nice from Aitchison, showing her 7 skills, the ball is alive. Matthews. Harrison. Millar-Mills.
Thank you.
It's loose, McDonald.
Knock on.
Well, the advantage has gone the way of Canada.
Knocked on by 9.
Well, Vicky Cornborough there a little bit confused. She thought it was England advantage they were still playing, but it's Canada advantage now, and they get the ball at the scrum.
Then go on set.
There's some nice options here, good variation. You think this late in the game it could get a bit looser, throw the ball deep, wide, all these sort of things. But England is sticking to those basic things that have made them successful in the game. You know, the forwards are carrying hard and flat and direct at the line, and nice and straight like we saw Sarah Byrne go through on her try.
Oh, the replacements have made an impact there at that scrum. Canada have it, but that was pressure. Cow right up in Canada's faces. There's Gonzalez. Tackles raining in. Canada going backwards. The Red Roses want that ball.
This is great defence by England. You can see them just not defending for the sake of defending. They're defending to try and inflict pressure and get the ball back, essentially.
Pelletier manages to find Tessier. That one just got away. Waiting at the back is McKenna. Dow, here she goes. Hasn't really had a chance to run so far today, Dow. You have to say, Canada have marked her out of the game quite well.
Yeah, they have. They will have been previewing this woman all week. She's in lightning form for England rugby, but also for Wasps ladies. Just a brilliant runner, ball in hand. I love to see her work.
You can see the missed tackles by Canada just costing them slightly, but pretty even Stevens there in the tackles made so far today. Heather Cowell has just made her way off today. Not a bad opening debut for her. A few more changes there as Menning comes off for Canada. That means Alex Ellis of Saracens will be coming on. See a few running repairs going on to a few players out there. There is Alex Ellis from Ottawa. She's another player whose dad actually played in the NHL. What's it like when you're at this stage in an international, guys, where, you know, there's still a good 10 minutes to go, but the reserves are starting to be depleted?
Oh, I was probably on the bench by then. I only played about 41 minutes, but no, it's an interesting time in the game, I suppose, because you can kind of see the scoreboard, you know how the game's going to pan out, but every coach wants to see control to the very end, especially on a winning scoreline.
Buisa. Oh, she's powerful, still going. She's got skills. She knew to just put the ball down there before going again. Paquin still going. Paquin, one of the players who played for Canada at the Tokyo Sevens.
Stay on.
Canada just screaming for it. Just as loud, though, is that English defensive line. We heard the go-go there for Canada. They're not interested in kicking this. They don't want another line out. So they've decided to run it. Paquin. Pelletier. Oh, that's a take then from McDonald. Worth saying that both McDonald is now on the wing, while you've got Infante playing scrum half at the moment for England. Here comes Alex Matthews. Oh, she's going to go directly underneath the posts. Worcester's Alex Matthews goes over for her 9th try in an England shirt. And Canada now, just memories of what happened in that first half. Doreen loves it.
It's great to see, isn't it? Dylan asked me earlier who my hybrid player is. Look at that take from Claudia McDonald, though. Not the tallest, but really good leap, hands above the head, really difficult skill. And again, you've got the same setup. This time, Sarah McKenna on the inside, Alex Matthews on the outside. Lovely option from Zoe Harrison, really good pick. And a fantastic straight finish by Alex Matthews to get through that hole.
100%, very similar to the Sarah Byrne line. These England forwards have obviously been coached very well on their running lines. They're taking the ball square and flat at the line.
Alex Matthews, she's also got that 7 speed. She's one of those players that she's just got so many skills in so many different areas, and it just shines.
She's unbelievable, and if you've ever seen her on a watt bike, that is a sight to behold. She is one of the most powerful people I've ever come across, to the point that we were looking at maybe getting her to go into the cycling team for some Olympics. She's that good.
Hopefully Doreen wasn't watching that from Poppy Cleal.
It's her first mistake of the day. She's been absolutely brilliant today, has Poppy Cleal, not only in the loose around the park, but also, again, that mini referee around the pitch.
We've got Nancam at the moment. I quite like it.
She's had more airtime than some of the girls.
Can we get a post-match interview? What do you think? The replacement's making a big difference there to that scrum. Canada under such pressure. Paquin is there. She knows she's got support in her shoulder through Castle. Once again, Pelletier finds Tessier. Going through Faris. Stripped, that one's by Packer, but it's gone forward, so Canada still have the advantage. There's no scrum half at the moment. Once again, it's Royer who's there, but the penalty is all England's. It is ferocious at that breakdown at the moment.
What an impact Marley Packer has had since coming on. She's just been everywhere, throwing people down in the tackle, nice and low, and that's a fantastic technical turnover. She just brings so much grit and determination to her game. Look at that, brilliant tackle from Alex Matthews. You see Lark Davis in behind, adding her weight, so Packer's even harder to move, but brilliant play.
Well, Infante with the distribution then, Cleel. Infante again, Harrison. A little bit of a dip down, Aitchison manages to find Dow. McKenna couldn't take, wasn't expecting. Hope you can't lip read what McKenna said there. She's slightly frustrated.
It's really good work from Holly Aitchison, just standing and delivering the pass. Abby Dow's almost running into Sarah McKenna's channel. I think she just wanted her to go straight, wasn't expecting the pass. As she's come across that line, Sarah McKenna's gone on the switch, so she's gone to drop underneath her and not expecting that ball. Again, it's just a bit scrappy from England. They just need to keep hold of the ball, go through the phases, play in the right areas.
Just a reminder, of course, that next week England will be playing the USA. Canada, they'll be making their way to Wales, the Cardiff Arms Park. England will be playing USA next week at Sixways. Well, England just looking to build a little bit of composure here. Lark Davis goes and gets that ball. She's ready for it, but this was the scrum. The impact of the replacements really has been big for the English forwards as it's taken quickly then. Davis gets to the back.
That's once.
In the end, Infante decides to go down that far side channel. McDonald is there, she's over again. She can play at scrum half, she can play on the wing. That's what Simon Middleton wants from her. And this is looking a very respectable scoreline now for the Red Roses.
Great recognition of the space, and I've got no doubt it's because you've got two nines playing together. That blind side is often on. England did a very good job, obviously tying Canada into that maul. They had to defend the maul because they respect it. Often the ball gets trapped in there and the space gets filled or defended very quickly. But McDonald's obviously chirping in Infante's ear here. She's ID'd it. There's a nice little 2-on-1. She shows late and the timing is perfect.
Really good play, isn't it? I know that that's something they would have worked on, but quite often as a nine, you're looking for your winger to come. You want your winger to boss that. Claudia McDonald, with all of that scrum half experience, she knows what Leanne Infante needs in that position, and they execute it very, very well. Really nice timing of the pass, a good finish.
I'll tell you what, when that goes wrong, it's because the hooker who's on the back of the ball often runs with the ball and gets confused what to do with it. When you've got a 9 and a 9 working together, there's only one outcome.
Zoe Harrison takes England over the 50 then. 7 tries this afternoon so for the Red Roses.
I would like to see a little bit more buy-in when the referee says use it once from these English forwards. I know it's tiring, but it's almost like when that gets communicated, they give up a little bit. What a shot that was.
Wow. Pam Finette Boysa. That was a Poppy Cleel special.
Love the intent, got to go low though.
Infante. Poppy Cleel, I think, has hurt herself in the process of doing that. She has taken a few knocks this afternoon. She's down on her haunches at the moment. She's back now. Oh, Tyson Bookaboom being pushed back by Maud Muir. Bookaboon is ready. Good support coming in the end by Castle, a firefighter back in Canada. She's been a first responder during the pandemic as the ball's taken in. Support comes from Gonzalez. Spinning once again by Castle. Slow ball for Canada. It's so hard for them to do something dynamic with it. Tessier manages to shrug off the first defenders. She's still going forward. Bookaboon. Pelletier. Gonzalez. It's all come through this near side channel so far for Canada. This time it's Courtney Holtkamp. Perhaps hasn't had quite as big an impact in the game as many people were expecting. They've got numbers on the far side if they can ship it quick enough. Good work by Rowland. Snipe round the corner. Clock closing down here. Canada want more.
I'm saying the longer this defensive set goes on, the more animated and the more desire you see from England. They're going so hard. Abby Ward still going at the breakdown, being a menace. You know, trying to force an error.
To the far side, Poulan there as well. Canada are closing in, still 10 meters to go. Tessier.
Onside, onside.
Ellis. This is the last minute of play. Canada have kept this alive for many phases now. Boysa. Still Canadian ball out towards the far side. Harrison's trying to rip it. Still gets coughed up on the Canadian side. Khalil thinks she can have that. She gets warned. The Kaboom again. Carried a lot of balls since she's come on the field. That's loose. Eventually it gets knocked on by Canada. And it's a moment for England to breathe and for us to ask you, Natasha Hunt, who your player of the match is.
I think there's been some really strong performances. Brilliant to see Heather Cowell cross twice in her home club. Helena Rowland, Zoe Harrison, that pairing has been fantastic. I think Poppy Cleal has gone exceptionally well. But for me, especially the first 3 tries, all of them came through. Sarah Byrne, she was taking the ball to the line. She was giving us go-forward ball from an England perspective, and 2 brilliant tries as well. Amazing to see. Hannah Bottomer trying to take the credit of that one. I know she got the assist, but for me, Sarah Byrne, the way she carried, the way she tackled, her energy around the pitch, she's our player of the match.
Nice little wave to the crowd there. Still just 24 years old. That's scary to think how good that tight head's going to be.
Obviously, bread and butter, she can scrummage, but when they needed decisive sort of intent and go forward, she was that person. I was just thinking about Simon Middleton come to the end of this game here, what he'd be most pleased with. You know, the scoreline's obviously beautiful, but that last defensive set, the desire that was shown to keep Canada out.
It's exactly what you want to see, isn't it?
Well, it's now 17 wins on the bounce for the Red Roses. Canada, they can leave with their heads held high. But once again, it was England who stepped up in that second half. It's finished England 51, Canada 12. Well, there we go. Perhaps a little bit of relief from the Red Roses after what they saw from Canada in that second half, but it was the Maple Leafs who just couldn't repeat the trick for a whole 80. They were very good for 40 minutes. But once again, particularly the impact of the bench for the Red Roses racked up quite the scoreline. Of course, USA again next week, but still, this is looking an incredibly dominant autumn campaign for Simon Middleton's England.
It really is, and as Dylan Hartley just mentioned, the desire and the intent to keep Canada out in those last few minutes is exactly what you want to see as a head coach. You don't want to roll over when you're 51-12 up. You want to see those double hits firing through every breakdown, that passion to make sure that no easy scores are given against you, and equally, no easy penalties. Such good heart from the girls.
Yeah, I think it was the perfect sort of game, not not because it was a perfect sort of game, if that makes sense. But against the Black Ferns, it seemed a little bit one-sided. I think this is perfect because it provides questions, it provides work-ons, it provides learnings. There was a time in that game where it could have gone either way. And credit to third in the world, the Canadians. They tested the Roses today, and when you're world number ones, people are going to be coming for you. So today they got a good test. They worked out some problems on the field. They got plenty that they can go away and work on. On Monday morning and next week, rolling into next week. It wasn't as one-sided as we've seen the last 2 weeks. So a great test for the girls.
Right then, let's head down to pitch side then.
I think 7 is the Red Roses' lucky number. That's 7 tries today, same as they got in each of the 2 tests against the Black Ferns. Emily, the score might not reflect it, but actually that was a proper test match. Yeah, it was for the Red Roses. What do you think, as Dylan Hartley's alluded to it, but what do you think will have pleased Simon Middleton most about that performance?
Look, I think there's loads in there. I think the fact that they did have to dig in a little bit, like you say, the score does flatter this England side a little bit in terms of how tough a game that would be, and I'm sure some bodies tomorrow morning will testify to how tough a physical challenge that was. But to come through that, kind of ride that storm, certainly in that first 20 minutes, go behind actually at one point, and to come back, take 3 points, continue to play the way that this England side wanted to play would be really pleasing.
Maggie Alfonsi, you see Captain Sarah Hunter there. She's giving that animated address to her team. What's she saying, do you think?
Well, I think she'll be saying almost a little bit what Emily just highlighted. We did well today, but we still need to keep kicking on. It's almost not resting on our laurels. And this England side, we keep saying it, they are growing, and there's so much talent in this team. Look, Bottomham is one of them, a hilarious player that she is. But there's so many good players in this team, and it's almost games like this is what they need, because they need to keep building. They need to learn how to come from behind and learn how to find different ways to win.
Well, talking of good players, we can hear from the player of the match now, Sarah Byrne, who was doing a possible impression of Erin Scarrett in midfield half the time.
Yeah, Sarah Byrne, deservedly happy, big smiles. You got on the score sheet, but you certainly helped out some of your teammates getting over the whitewash as well. You must be delighted with that.
Yeah, I think, I'm just on the way here, I was like, just enjoy it, enjoy every minute, enjoy getting on that bus with the girls, because you never know when it might not be your day to get the shirt or you pick up an injury. So today my ultimate goal was just to try and have fun, and I think, on my smile, I definitely had a good time.
It's been such an interesting couple of weeks. Maybe score lines we didn't expect at the beginning against the Black Ferns. We saw how Canada came out to play with nothing to lose in that first half, but you really pulled away collectively in the second half.
I think, we realised we were probably a little bit scrappy. We needed to hold on to the ball a little bit more in that first half, but at the same time we've got a really young back line. We've got new combinations and they want to try stuff, so fair play to them to coming out to try it. Our bench came on and actually pulled everything together and really got that go forward going. So strength across the whole squad, and an exciting time for us.
And Sarah, you've still got 1 match left in this autumn series, then a Six Nations, then a World Cup. We don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but what is the atmosphere like at the moment with this group?
I think it's really exciting. For the first time, we've got a challenge in every single shirt. We're getting pushed every single week by each other, but we're also really together. We have those fun times on the coach, in the team room. So it's really exciting, and we've got a lot to work on, and we've got really far to go. So all I can say is keep watching us.
Well, enjoy your champagne. If you share it with the rest, it's 1 sip each, but you are the player of the match. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Lovely, wide smile from Sarah Byrne there, Maggie. But she wasn't the only England forward who held up really well today, was she?
Yeah, when we normally talk about the England side, we always talk about the backs, but actually the forwards did really well. Look, one player highlighted there on the screen, Poppy Clear was brilliant, captain last weekend and now leading from the front. But look, let's look at the props. Bottomham was absolutely brilliant. She carried hard, she got over the gain line, she was physical at the breakdown, she showed her intent in every contact opportunity and also showing her handling skills. But you got to mention the player of the match, Sarah Byrne. Look, she runs like a back row. She used to be a back row, but she's very strong in what she does. She carries hard. And look, when you look at the stats between both of the props, look, 13 carries, 96 metres and 2 tries. I think any back would be happy with that. But Sarah Byrne, deserving player of the match, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how far she kicks on to the next big event.
Yeah. Ultimately, it's like a difficult afternoon, really, for Canada, especially in that second half. I think they were lost at 31-0. Let's hear from their coach, who's with Lee.
Well, Sandra, how do you feel after that? Because when we spoke beforehand, you knew it was going to be a big challenge. You'd waited 2 years for this match. You'd played the USA, but after all of that this afternoon, where do you think your group are?
I mean, the energy and effort was there, but the execution was off. You know, we weren't disciplined, and England capitalized on our mistakes, and you can't give them that many opportunities.
And is that just because you've had so little time collectively together as a group? Because what has it been, about 10 days and 2 years?
Yeah, I think from our standpoint, we're building, right? The reality is you play against a great team like this, we got to go back to the drawing boards and see where our strengths are and our weaknesses, and just keep on building towards the World Cup. Well, best of luck for your next matches.
Thank you very much. And we're just going to bring in the Red Roses coach, Simon Middleton. Well, Simon, let's just try and sum this one up, because you said that they were going to come, they were going to play, they had nothing to lose, so I imagine that you are delighted with that, particularly the second half, when you said at half-time, a few niggles, things to iron out, they did it.
Yeah, we started the second half exactly how we wanted, you know, playing through the middle, you know, which I think that's sort of testimony to how Canada developed the game, because the last place you probably want to go is through the middle against them, but they were so organised and so committed in defence. So yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled. That was a really good test match, and the scoreboard doesn't tell the story. It's tough on Canada, is that? So they were absolutely outstanding today.
And Simon, Sarah Byrne was just saying what's so good about this is there is such competition for each jersey out there. So how do you play the next match? Do you experiment? Do you stick with what you know? Because you are building to a World Cup.
Yeah, no, we'll rotate the squad next week. There's going to be there'll be quite a few changes. You know, we always have a bit of a strategic plan when we go into a tournament, and we'll stick to the plan. You know, I'm absolutely thrilled. I was so nervous this morning because I knew this was going to be a really big game for us, and I'm absolutely thrilled. So we'll stick to the plan. We'll make some changes for next week, and then we'll prepare really well for the USA, and we'll see if we can make it 18 on the bounce.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Thanks very much, Simon.
Cheers, thanks a lot. Cheers.
Emily, should we talk about another live spark for this England team, which was Claudia MacDonald at scrum half? She's really had a good autumn, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's had a really good autumn. She started really, really well in that first New Zealand test where she got a start. She's also very capable of playing on the wing, which we saw her move late on in this game. And look, it comes from a really nice set play. You see Langi Tuima running that really hard direct line. It just draws those Canadian defenders into her, gives Claudia that opportunity just on the outside, weak shoulder. Her
Marvellous, as always. Thank you very much. Plenty more sport, though, as always, on the BBC. Tonight, even, we have the Women's Football Show. That's 11:30 tonight. Don't forget, we're back next Sunday when the Red Roses take on the USA. That comes from Six Ways at Worcester. And as always, have a listen to the Rugby Union Weekly podcast. I always find that's a good supplement for your dog walk and early part of the week. So Canada ultimately will have to wait for that first win on English soil. The Red Roses ultimately running away with it. Join us, as we said, next week when the Red Roses will look to end the autumn on a high when they take on the USA in Worcester. Emily and Maggie will be back as well. See you then. Bye for now.
Underway then at the Stoop. The world number one's taking on the world number threes. Roland with the big pass out wide. There's Cow. She's on debut. She's going to dot down in the corner. Poulin, still Poulin going. She goes over for Canada's second. Cow, she scored one. Can she score another? Cow for a double on her debut. She's going over the line. It's Byrne for a double. She's trying to get the ball away. Still McDonald. Oh, she touches down.